it's time to relax, and you know what that means. A stack of comics, your favorite easy chair, and of course this compact disc playing on your home stereo. So go on, indulge yourself. That's right, kick your shoes off, lean back, and just enjoy the melodies. After all, music can bring back all that nostalgic memories. Yeah, here we go. Welcome to Captain's Comics and Toys and More. Take your time, have a look around the store. It's free comic book day 2026. You picked us up, good call, it fits. This is where the playlist starts, a little love letter to the things we are. So press play, let it roll tonight. You got something good in your hands, that's right. From old school games to the silver screen, every track hits somewhere in between. First song here just sets the tone. You're not listening to this alone. This awesome mix was made for you, side by side with Volume 2. You'll hear a fight, you'll hear a flight. Mortal Kombat kicks it off just right. And Superman up in the sky in Spaceballs makes it all go by. Pac-Man fever lights the maze. Geeks take over in their own way. OCD with that coffee spin. Yeah, this is where the fun begins. Rapping Duke with a throwback sound. Diggy diggy hole goes underground. The Witcher theme calls you near. Serenity brings that quiet cheer. Let it play. Don't skip a track. There's a story in this stack. So press play, let it roll tonight. You got something good in your hands, that's right. From old school games to the silver screen, every track hits somewhere in between. First song here just sets the tone. You're not listening to this alone. This awesome mix was made for you, side by side with Volume 2. Mr. T brings the energy. Barry runs through history. Spider-Man swings back again. Hobby talk with all your friends. And time keeps moving on. Then the ultimate showdown song. And if you're someone who plays to win, there's a hidden track tucked in. Yeah, you might want to stick around. So press play, let it roll tonight. Thanks for stopping in, it feels just right. From every shelf to every sound, there's a little magic going round. Track one fades, but don't you go. There's a lot more left below. This awesome mix was made for you. Every song to carry you through. Thanks for stopping by today. Enjoy the show and press play.
Are you interested in amateur radio? Ham radio is an exciting hobby that opens the door to digital communications, international connections, electronics, STEM learning, public service, and community involvement. The Amigos Radio Club Ashtabula is a non-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to helping people discover one of the most rewarding hobbies around. We offer free amateur radio licensing classes, mentoring, technical support, and opportunities to get involved in all aspects of radio communications. Whether you're interested in emergency communications, technology, public service, or just meeting great people with shared interests, there's a place for you in amateur radio. Learn more and become a member today at kc8oh.org.
In a small town where imagination faded, one place refused to let it die. A beacon in the dark where new comics sat idle waiting for an opportunity. Captain's Comics, Toys, and your next adventure starts here. This store has not yet been rated.
Rykus leans in, his eyes like fire. Nemo's got the mic dressed in satire. Andrew in the booth, spinning the wheel. Cameras rolling, it's all surreal. Who's the guest today? Who's the guest today? Record spinning, always winning. Rykus, Nemo, questions pinning. Andrew calls the shot, don't miss the frame. Hobby Hooligan, what's your name?
Hey, Hobby Hooligans, welcome to Ashtabula Hobby Talk. I am Nemo, your co-host today, president of Amigos Radio Club Ashtabula and amateur radio enthusiast. I'm here with...
Hey guys, I'm Rykus, owner of Captain's Comics in North Kingsville, Ohio, and we're here with another scorching of a hot day.
Yeah,
Oof.
man, I'll tell you what, these... So I said this today to somebody, and I'm not sure it came out right, but so I have friends in Canada and I have friends in Texas. And Canada is sending us their bonfires and Texas is sending us their heat, and we're caught in between somehow.
You need to stop having friends so far away.
I guess.
Those kind of friends are dangerous.
Like between the smoke this morning and heat today, and I mean, we got a little reprieve last week from the heat, but
Dang, man.
it's we've been hitting 90s pretty regular here.
It's pretty sad on a hot day like this. You can actually look at the sun and actually see it through all the smoke and smog.
Oh, it's crazy.
You can just stare at the sun on a hot summer night.
We showed up on the job site. We're building this big house over in Kingsville. We showed up on the job site, and I went like this in the air and blew smoke around. That's how bad it was. And that was at 7 o'clock this morning.
Man, all those trees out in Canada, man. That's sad.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Smokey the Bear, man. He needs to pay a visit to Canada.
I don't know how the Canada works. I know I got some friends up there, but I don't really talk to them about how that stuff works. But you would think they would send their National Guard. That's kind of what the military is for in these situations. Go hand them all chainsaws and start cutting fire lines and bring this stuff under control. You've got 10,000 lakes up there, literally. You can't tell me you don't have a helicopter that can airdrop water. I mean,
well, preventative stance. I think there's a lot of red tape. A lot of lands are protected. You can't go around and chainsaw lands to prevent stuff, because preventing it is a big part of it. You clear out some of the trees that are dead and hazardous. You get rid of those, but during protected lands you can't do that, so they become a fire hazard.
So they become unprotected lands.
Yeah,
that's what they become, is unprotected lands.
There's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, the happy medium is taking care of it so that it cannot be that way. I mean, we've got our problems too. I'm not going to deny that, but that's the button I'm looking for.
Yep. We have Vargo saying he's seen a Smokey the Bear commercial recently. I didn't know they were still airing those. Is it still active?
They still own the copyrights.
Sure.
And occasionally they do make a new Smokey the Bear commercial.
All right.
I've definitely seen some within the last 10 years or so.
I thought he was hibernating for a while, because I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
He came out and telling people don't do that, and people are doing that. And it might not be people. It might be just the nature, because that happens in nature.
Sure, and I can understand it happening in nature, but here's the thing. And we used to have it too, which is why all our wildfires are so out of control. It's CGI now. Yeah.
Smokey the Bear CGI?
Yeah, they don't have a guy in a suit or a claymation thing or anything anymore.
Oh man.
But here's the thing: we used to have spotters, and Canada had them too, and they were towers that were in the woods with an actual person, and the towers were built above the tree levels so they could look out, and their sole purpose was to look out across the trees and see a fire and report it. They had a radio, ham radio. It was running on government frequencies, but it was ham radio nonetheless. And they would call it in, hey, there's a fire here. By the time the fire crews got to it, it might be 40, 50 acres. Now, by the time fire crews get to a fire that's out in the middle of nowhere, it's hundreds of acres. It's already past the point of being manageable because they're not managing it anymore. Let's face it.
Right.
And that's killing a lot of the outdoor hobbyists that would just go out there and do hobby stuff.
Yeah, walking along the park, collecting branches to make walking sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy who lives in Colorado. He's told me about how some of his favorite nature trails have just been reduced to it looks like a nuclear wasteland after the fire comes through. And after 4 or 5 years, the trails all spring back up, right? Because wildfires are very common out there. Like half that freaking state burns down every year, and then it comes back. But it's they take it very seriously over there. I can't speak to how I'm sure it's serious in Canada, but I can't speak to how effective it is. But it's the same kind of it's actually the same kind of tactics that military pilots do on like bombing runs, but with water.
Right.
Those massive jumbo jets that just like the bottoms of them open up, and the force of that water coming out of there can like destroy cars and stuff. There's so much of it.
Wow.
Well, and here's some of it too. I mean, so in the redwood forest, those trees are so big that the seeds require an incubation temperature in order to germinate, which that temperature is fire, and it also cleans parasites off the trees too. So when those trees were huge and they were big enough to cut a hole through and drive a semi truck, you needed fire to burn the parasite trees, literally the parasite trees, off of the outside of the wood of those trees, and to allow for germination of the new seeds, so that they got the heat that they needed to sprout. But it's never been managed right. It's never been managed right. So, and now there's not even that many. I think there's, what is it, like 2% of our old growth forest is still sitting there.
Jeez.
That's just West Coast. Just about everything else in this country has actually been logged once. And I know it's not the same for Canada, but they're just letting it burn down as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it seems like every year about this time, Canada's having some kind of fire issue.
Yeah, it does.
And then we kind of get some kind of smog from it.
And there's a big difference between, we're just not doing anything about it. Well, I mean, at this point, California and Canada, they both start with C. Don't be mad at me, all our Canada listeners, but I mean, if you're not going to put out the campfires, it's the same as not putting out the burning buildings.
Right. That's another thing. I mean, if you have an outdoor hobby, make sure you're doing it safe. Like if you're having a campfire, that's your hobby is camping and doing some outdoorsy stuff.
Yeah.
Just pick up after yourself. Don't litter. Keep the outdoors nice.
Make sure your fire's out when you walk away.
Bring a bucket of sand in the back of your hatchback to put your campfire out.
Yeah.
That's why most big cities out there, especially out west, they have outlawed fireworks almost completely. Now, that's not to say that the 250th didn't completely disregard that, because you can't arrest the whole city, right? But that's one of the reasons why, because it's so dry out there.
Are they saying why the forests start? Is it because of our fireworks that we had?
Well, as far as I understand it, a lot of the time out like in places like Colorado, Arizona, it's a
talking about
mix
Canada.
of well, Canada too, basically anywhere that's dry. It's a mix of lightning, campfires, and what's the third one? Well, sometimes it's actually utility companies that start them because well, power lines going through forests have to be maintained, especially otherwise well,
Right.
you know.
But usually they have like some kind of cause that they find afterwards. Did they find this cause right now?
I mean, they can usually see where a fire starts from, and if it's around like a local like camp area, it's kind of, you know,
Well, here, and
process
that's
elimination.
the thing. Like, if okay, I get it. We got all this new technology now. You know, back in the '90s or whatever it was, you know, Clinton and Reagan, they kind of destroyed the infrastructure that was there of the parks by getting rid of all the spotters and some other stuff too. I won't get into all that, but those two were both instrumental in doing a lot of the degradation that the national park systems have had. And then, okay, but we've got all this satellite technology. So shouldn't it be easier now to see the fire and dispatch firefighters to the location?
Yeah.
I
I've seen the
mean,
movie Backdraft, and sometimes those forest fires, once they start, you just gotta.
the only thing you can do is get out in front of them and cut fire lines and make it so they can't jump.
Yeah.
And I get that. And I'm not a fire expert, but I learned enough to
I learned what I know from movies.
and well, not from movies, from people I know that are actual fire marshals and firefighters. I've got plenty of friends that
Well, after the
in
fact,
that field.
after I'm all grown up, I've gone into trail life, and we do a lot of outdoor campings. And there's programs that you can find that teaches you how to have campfires responsibly. I encourage everyone to be responsible with that. Find out how to have your campfire. There's Smokey the Bear has a online site. I've used that to teach the kids. There's just look at the pamphlet. There's an online pamphlets you can get. So I encourage people just to go out and learn before you just start fires. I mean, we have fire bans in effect usually in the summertime, usually at 6 o'clock or something. So learn about that. Be responsible.
Got something from LC Vargo here. They had controlled burns at Fort Stewart's, Georgia. It was a pain driving down the highway next to it. Oh, yeah. You see videos of people, like, driving down the highway, getting away from fires, and there's just fire, like, on both sides of the road. And, your car's on recirculate, not that it helps, right?
I was scrolling through my media, and I seen in Canada right now, there was a train that was going through the fire, and it stopped, and they're having the videos and showing that there's fire all around them. And I didn't see what happened, but the comments said that they were rescued. So, holy cow.
I mean, if the track's not obstructed, wouldn't it be better to just keep going?
You would think, but if something fell, like a bunch of logs fell in front of it.
Yeah, I guess they can't really say for any certainty that hasn't happened.
But from the videos, you couldn't see past the windshield because it was all fire.
Yeah, I bet.
They were like cooking in there.
Ugh.
It didn't look good.
Well, this morning I couldn't see. I think 500 feet was visibility this morning, tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, waking up to a severe weather alert. Oh, what the heck? Another tornado warning? No, severe air quality alert. Huh? That's a thing?
Yeah, we're just getting it all this year.
Yeah, really, we are.
Tornadoes, drought, rain, fire from the north.
Oh, man. Yeah, air quality index.
Winter coming.
Wasn't there boil alerts in Conneaut?
Yeah, like last week, earlier last week.
Oh,
So
man.
the water's bad, the air's bad. What you gonna do?
You know, prepping hobbies. Keep that in mind.
That's a great hobby.
We were actually talking about that this morning with our customer who we're building a house for, and we were talking about how my mom used to wash out old milk jugs and put them in the basement and store them. And every 3 months or 4 months, every 3 months about, she would go down there and use that to water the plants with. and then she'd put new jugs down there to keep the water fresh. But
Sure.
just in case something happened and we had to have water. So, yeah.
Yep. I mean, a lot of our ancestors used to do like really good prep stuff, and I think we got a little disconnected in that.
Yeah.
We take things for granted now, and I mean, everything's all 5-minute cities.
Mm-hmm.
I think, or 15 minutes or whatever that is. Everything.
15-minute cities. Don't get me started on that. That's not a hobby. That's a soapbox if I start talking.
Well, the point is everything's, at your fingertips, conveniently. So why save something? Why preserve something? Why everyone's so minimalist now that they want a small little apartment with very minimal stuff, and it's
that's a dependent situation, though. If you ask me, that's not a realistic
it's certainly a way of life. I mean, I'm not going to knock it because it could work with a lot of people the way they live. I mean, if they function that way, that's great. I like to have space. I like to have collections. I'm a hobby collector, and I'm a borderline hoarder. Not really. I have my hoards controlled, filed, inventoried. There's a method to my madness.
As long as you're under no false pretenses that it stops existing when you walk out of the room, you're not a hoarder.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of hoarder shows, and I'm like, I don't ever want to get that bad.
I would be a hoarder, but it would be a Viking hoarder, and or a barbarian hoard. I'm okay with those kinds of hoardings,
like skulls and of your enemies.
Yeah. Skulls of my enemies and long houses and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right on.
Good adventuring friends to fight with. Lots of soldiers at your backside. Speaking of lots of soldiers and smoke and all that stuff, I just went last week and went to the new movie theater that's been open for a little while now, and really it was an enjoyable experience going up to JPAL.
Sure.
And we went for a matinee show. We were like me and the wife. There were only two of us, and there were 6 people in the movie theater, unfortunately. But it was reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And the staff was friendly, and like every single person we saw that worked there that said hello, and it was good. It was good. Even saw your commercial.
You see it? Was it good?
Yeah, looks
Nice.
good on the big screen.
Okay. Every time I go to the movies, I get there just in the nick of time, and I don't see my commercial. And
Yeah.
every time I was like, okay, next time we come here, we need to come and plan it so we get to here early so I can see what the commercial looks like on the big screen.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Okay.
good. Looks good.
But
Sounded good too.
you watched George Washington then?
I watched Young Washington. Yes,
Young Washington.
absolutely, and it was a very good movie. It wasn't exactly what I expected at all, but it was worth every second of watching.
Is it a very well documented? Did it play good on history, or was it just something that
I would believe so. My understanding is that that there was some
liberties?
the liberties that were taken had to do with his brother, from my understanding.
Okay.
I think his brother held a slightly different position in arrangement. His half brother, whatever. I believe they made him to be older than Washington, and I believe he was actually younger than Washington.
Okay.
But he had a real commission in the British Navy, and then he retired because of health issues. Kind of, that was basically kind of the way they did it in the movie. It was not George Washington crossing the Delaware. It definitely was not that. It was not George Washington's Civil War and founding America. It was, or Civil War or Revolutionary War and founding America. It was George Washington growing up to become the man who did that, and the things that would have solidified the events that would have solidified the character requirements to become such a person.
So you're saying there's room for a sequel?
I would think there would be room for a sequel.
Because I think that's just a good story, good part of George Washington's. But I think a lot of people want to see.
There was a lot of the growing he did becoming as a British military officer, because a lot of people don't even know, because the history is not taught in our schools the way it used to be, that George Washington was actually a British military officer who was born here in the United States first. He was a colonial officer. Slight difference there. The colonial officers weren't usually given a commission, but he was a general in the colonial army. So as far as I'm concerned, that counted. But it was about the things that happened to him that led up to that. It wasn't even the introduction of, like, hey, this is what he's going on to do. Like, they didn't even touch on any of that. It was literally like
the first couple chapters of his life.
Yeah, like, I'm 20 years old and I'm being sent out to go fight with a military unit for the first time, and well, does that necessarily succeed or fail? And if it does fail, do you learn from it? And that was what it was really kind of about.
Okay. I mean, don't give too much away, because I want to watch it too.
Yep. So that's as far as I'll go. But go watch it. It's worth watching every second.
You can see it in the Ashtabula Mall Theater, because, like you said, that's just a great place.
Yeah, they've you know, one of the things I really liked about that, and I was surprised, they actually, there's a couple spots where they cleared out rows of chairs in the theaters for big people like me, and or people in wheelchairs in their escorts.
Right.
So there's plenty of good seats to sit in, and even if you aren't sitting in those seats, which we were fortunate enough to do, the seats were comfortable enough. You could sit in them for a couple hours.
Right. I mean, it's not like a big time theater. You're not going to have all the vibrations and the sounds in the seats and the leather and, you know, cushions.
No, it's a 90s movie theater experience.
But this is all you need for all your needs. You're there to see a movie.
Yeah.
And it's a mom and pop business. It's a family owned business.
They're doing a great job.
It's not a corporation like, you know, TNC or what, Cinemac. It's not that. It's not a corporation. It's privately owned, and these people started this with their own money.
Yeah, so go check them out. I haven't been really interested in any of the other movies there, and to be honest, the last time I went to a movie theater up there was before it was JPAL, and that was whatever it was before. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, so this is your first?
This is the first time I've seen a movie up there. The last movie I saw up there was A New Hope.
Was it an AMC, Rykus?
AMC, yep.
Yeah, and the last one I saw there was Top Gun Maverick.
I remember I think what had been the very first movie I seen in the Ashtabula Mall Theater when it was AMC. I think it was Jurassic Park. I went to go Jurassic Park. That's the first memory I have of the Ashtabula Mall Theater.
You talking the original Jurassic
Park? The
Park?
original.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I can go back. I think the very first cinematic movie I've watched it might have been He-Man, or it might have been Gremlins or Karate Kid. Whichever one of those three movies came out first. I remember those all grouped together for me, so it's kind of hard for me to.
Yeah, those all kind of grouped together for me too.
Love Gremlins. They used to freak me out when I was a kid.
It freaked me out when I was seeing it in theaters. I was just a young kid, and I was like watching it, and I was like, Gremlins might be in my cupboards.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I don't want Gremlins in my cupboards.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, not New Hope, Force Awakens.
Oh, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the movie I saw there, and then it was shortly after that they closed down.
I think the first thing I've ever seen, which also was there, I want to say it was one of the last Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Okay. I seen that one in Tinseltown, the very first one. I took my nephew to see that one.
It was either that or something from Avengers, but I cannot remember which.
So we got 8 people on the up there. Jump into the chat and join into the chat with us.
Tell us what you remember.
Tell us what you remember if you're from the area, or what your
very
movie
first
that
movie
you
was.
can remember was.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. You know, I love movies, and I'll tell you what, there was a guy. So I rebuilt a movie theater when I was like 20.
Did you?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So back in the neighborhood that I grew up in, back then it was called the Heights Art Theater, and it was a movie theater. And they did midnight showings of lots of X-rated movies. The movies that would make Rocky Horror Picture Show look like a PG-13 movie.
What kind of movies were you watching?
Well, they would do midnight runs of these X-rated movies, sometimes double X, the Vine films, and
I didn't know those made it to theaters.
They made it to some theaters that were, which is why they called it the Heights Art Theater, and they really tried to push when they were open. You know, the movies that they would go for would be like Amadeus, because they were like, that's the movie we want to put in here. That's the kind of movies we want to put in here. But at night, they were up there on the rating. Anyway, that movie got shut down that movie theater was shut down for a long time. And some local guys in the Cleveland area got together and decided they were going to reopen it, and did a bottom-up remake of the movie theater. They had 3 movie theaters in there. The main screen, which was a full-size movie theater, they cut that in half, and the upstairs balcony, they turned that into its own theater, and then the back half of what would have been kind of the back half of the movie theater, or they kind of turned it around and made it a screen facing the other direction. So it was 3 theaters. It was cool. But I worked under a guy there, which was one of the guys who built the theater. And rest in peace for the man, but his name was Maury Zarell. And that guy knew more about movies than anybody I've ever met in my entire life.
Wow.
And anytime you mentioned a movie or a thing, he'd be like, oh, that was like in this movie with these 3 guys and blah, 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 blah about the movie, even if the thing you mentioned didn't have anything to do with it.
I'm pretty good with my movie trivias. I mean, I'm not the good, like probably like that guy, but I do know quite a bit of movie trivia. And movies was my thing. I mean, that's one of my hobbies. I loved movies, I loved comic books, and I loved music. And I couldn't get enough of either one of those.
Yeah, yeah. So,
how about movie drive-in theaters?
Okay. So, I still have go to Elm Road Triple Drive-In once in a while. When I lived in Girard down that way, we would go, I don't know, once a month or so, depending.
Yeah.
That's a good drive-in movie theater. There used to be one, I want to say, in Mayfield Heights area, but that closed years and years ago. And then there is actually Mayfield Road Drive-In, but that's in like Chardon.
I don't remember my first drive-in movie. I don't think I've ever had a chance to go there when I was a kid. So that's probably why it's not in my good memories of childhood. I remember going there as an adult. There's a bunch of movies I watched. I think the last drive-in movie I seen was It was a triple showing, and one of the movies was the Ghostbusters, the female cast. It was okay, but there's like a dog, my Pet World or something, or about pets.
Yeah.
It was an animated show, and I took my kids to see that, and the Ghostbusters was right after that. And we didn't stay for the third one because we were just too tired. But yeah, drive-in movies are awesome. I wish there was more of those. Andover had one. I don't think that's functional anymore. I think it's just more of a flea market now.
Yeah, I mean, they got a screen there still, but I don't think I have any projectors or anything.
There's one in Chardon, as far as I know, that's still functional.
On Mayfield Road.
And there's one in Erie. Well, not in Erie, but by area Waterford. I think there's one in Waterford.
Yeah, one up there.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's one down by Youngstown, Warren.
Yeah.
Elm Road Triple Drive-In, and they run all summer. If I'm not mistaken, they start, what is it, Memorial Day through Labor Day.
I kind of want to start my own drive-in in my backyard. I have a projector and a popcorn machine. Just invite some people, just hang out, and maybe not cars but tents. I'm ready to go.
Be kind of cool.
Yeah. Overnight movies.
Well, so what's going on in comic book world, man?
Oh man, you just hit a raw nerve. Comic book world is locally in a disarray. There is a comic book store in Erie that I used to frequent quite a bit when I was younger, and it's been around for 43 years. It's called Books Galore. They announced that they will be closing at the end of this month. And that kind of saddens me. I love that place. I remember going up in the attic. They used to have a huge attic filled with dollar comics. They'd open it up like once a month back a while ago. It was once a month on a Saturday. I can't remember if it was like the last Saturday of every month or something, but you'd go up there and the attic was like super hot. You'd be sweating like crazy because they only open up in the summertime. You're just drenched in sweat going through your comics and finding. I used to buy like long boxes of comic books at a time there. That was when I was like really heavy into just buying and collecting. I'm still big into it, but now I'm more picky about the titles because I collected everything I need. Now it's really specific titles I'm looking for now. But man, they're closing. No more. That's the end of the era in Erie. There's no more comic book stores in Erie. The only other place is Captain's Comics on this side. And if you want to go about the same amount of distance from my store to Books Galore, is from Books Galore to Jamestown in New York.
Wow. So
that's the next closest.
Either way, you got to leave the state.
Yep. There's a lot more farther south when you're hitting Pittsburgh area or a little bit in between. Pittsburgh is like really awesome with their comic book stores, but Erie is now tapped out. Unless someone comes in and fills in the shoes. I mean, I'm trying to do the most I can to support them. I'm drawing in pull listers as much as I can to keep the hobby still alive in Erie. But man, that's devastating. I never want to see an awesome store like that that's been around for 43 years. Just
it's a shame. I mean, whenever you got a store like that situation and it ends up closing for whatever the reason is, I know a lot of times it's because the people you would hope you could pass something like that down to are not interested, and it ends up going in a different direction. So I've definitely seen that with a lot of businesses.
Well, I can honestly say it's not because of the lack of interest in the hobby. The hobby of the comic book collecting is still alive and doing well. It's as far as I can tell, I wasn't around when Books Galore first opened, but it was by a collector named John, Crazy John, from what I understand, was his name. This is going by one source that I've talked to over the week. And he started a comic book store and I guess he got a divorce and he split, and his wife got the comic book store, so he opened up another comic book store down the street. I guess that didn't happen, that survived, but the one that did, his wife took over. That's Books Galore, and that went into another family member bought it, or maybe not a family member, maybe somebody else bought it, and that's what started the big Books Galore as what we know. And the guy that owned it then passed away and gave it to his son. His son wasn't that big into comic books, but he kept it going, and he owned several other businesses in Erie. So he was keeping that open just to help equity his other businesses. And he passed away about a couple weeks ago, which ignited the closure. I guess that guy left it to his grandkid, or the original guy's grandkids, now the owners of it. And I guess they have a lot less interest in the comic book industry than their father. So they're selling everything off.
Wow, that's a shame, because that's I mean, it is an opportunity. Maybe are they selling it all off? Are they at least discounting it all? And
Well, that's the thing. The employees don't know what's going on. They're not informed of what's going on, what the wishes are for the inheritance, what they're doing with it. I tried contacting them because I wanted to purchase a couple, display items that they had, because I want to collect memorabilia, things that I see from the comic book store that I was like, I got this from here.
right,
I've done that with all the other comic book stores that I like, because Funk City News, when they went out of business in Pontiac a long time ago, I purchased a few things, and I have some memorabilia that I can look back like, I got that from this store, and it holds strong memories. And I want to do the same with Books Galore. There's certain items I want to target that I must have, and they can't tell me how I can purchase them because they don't know. They gave me a number to call back, and I called back, and nothing.
so they're not even telling the people who work there.
As far as I know, there is a warehouse to the side of them, a building filled with comic books that got sold off, and there's a bunch of older comic books in the basement. Those are now off limits, and I'm not sure if those got sold or what happened with that. And now the attic is left, and I think someone's going to buy that soon, because why not? But it's kind of hard trying to find someone to buy that from.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. If you can contact someone, that's great. You have more of a lead than me.
That's crazy that it's going down like that. But I mean, so somebody's picking up all that stuff, and they're gonna benefit from it.
I mean, if they open up a comic book store in Erie, I mean, that's if they do it well. Opening up your own comic book store is very challenging. I know firsthand, and it took us a few years to get our footing and to understand the business and how things are ran, because everything's not in your favor.
Sure.
The distributor doesn't care about you. The creators don't really care about you. You're in it for yourself, trying to keep the creators alive and well fed, trying to keep the distributors functioning, because without you, everything falls apart. But they just don't care. It's weird. It's a weird situation to be in, being a comic book store owner. But you just do it for the love of the comics. I mean, that's what I do.
Well, that's the way it is with a lot of hobbies too. I mean, I guess there's only a few companies in amateur radio that are big enough to say that they're commercial, and I honestly believe they have other things that supplement what they do, not just amateur radio, but they keep the amateur radio side going, because other radio manufacturers are out there producing radios, and if somebody doesn't sell the name brand ones, the the Chinese knockoffs are going to take over the market. So
we have a DMG Dan commented, bookstores are falling to the wayside due to retail bookstores and online ordering. That's a very interesting take on that, but I think I have to disagree. You are right in certain orders. The online ordering is a big problem for the comic book industry. But the retail bookstores, they can't do what comic book stores do. They don't have your back stock. You can only probably get like your current issues, and if you miss out, they don't hold that for you.
yeah,
So if you're a Batman fan trying to get every single Batman new issue, your bookstores are not going to be your guiding light. They're not going to hold it for you. You have to go in. If they're sold out, you're done. You have to go somewhere else. The retail, there is a place called Midtown Comics and a bunch of other places that do sell online, but the mail system sucks. If you want your comic books to arrive mint or good condition, your only bet is a comic book store. And if you don't have one in your area, I understand doing online ordering because that's what you're left with.
well, and I looked into that too. If you're ordering online, those guys need to send it in like a vault, because like it's got to be in a box that's designed for shipping comic books, because the mailman will treat it like any other magazine and just shove it in your mailbox like it's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what the subscriptions used to do. If you subscribe to like Spider-Man when in the 90s or 80s, they just folded it up and put it in your mailbox. I mean, they weren't major collectors like we have today.
Yeah.
They were just reading it for the comics and, throw it in a box after you're done reading it. But now collectors want bag and board and, pristine edges. Spine has to be, tick free. And so the collectors, and there are a lot of collectors out there, they're going to want their comic book nice. And comic book stores do that. You want your back issues, comic book stores have that. So comic book stores are still thriving. It's just kind of hard to deal with the distributors and everything else. That's the problem that comic book stores are having. Could you imagine a Chinese Temu Batman? Oh man.
Sadly, I can.
I'm sure.
Flying mammal mail.
Yeah, I agree with you there, DMG. I prefer to shop live and in person. And the other thing I like is haggle. Nobody does that anymore, man. It's like you go to the store and you want something and you finally find it at the store. Yep. And they got it for $20 more than what you're willing to pay for it. And you might still end up paying $10 more than you wanted to, but at least you haggled. Nowadays, people don't even haggle. And it's worse than that.
They haggle still.
I mean,
there's a lot of shows.
I'm just saying in like the retail markets in general.
Oh, that.
And now it's even worse. You look at the Walmarts. All the Walmarts have gone to digital pricing, so they can wave a wand over the thing, and a little LED display changes or it's an LCD display, and it changes the price. And all you have to do is do a couple searches on YouTube or the internet, and you'll see like people, and the price is one thing, and then they get up to the counter and the price changed while they were walking to the counter.
Yeah.
To the checkout.
You guys talking about the little e-ink price tags in Walmart? Yeah. I noticed those the other day when I was in there, and I'm like, huh. Can you imagine how expensive it was to redo the entire store with those things?
But not just that. I mean, those things they're talking about dynamic pricing with those things.
Yep. By time of day and time
you
of
came here
season.
at 6 o'clock to pick up a pizza. Well, that pizza's now $40. I mean, that's not happened yet, but I mean,
just a couple taps on your keypad, you can make the price whatever you want.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's comic book industry changed when I was growing up, or I wasn't paying attention to it when I was younger. But when I was younger, the price of the comic book was right there on the price tag said this is a $20 comic book. You treat it like a $20 comic book. It's like, okay, you go to the cash register, it's $20, you pay $20. That's what I did when I was younger. But now that I'm older, I'm watching things like pawn stores, there's other things like Comic Book Men and other things. They're teaching people to haggle over the prices.
Yeah.
So your $20 price tag is now 15 or 18 or something because, you know, you're people want to haggle it down.
We did that with records back in the day, you know, with LPs, and you know, we'd go into the store and we'd be more than happy to pay $15 for an LP for the copy of, you know, Smoke on the Water, because everybody wanted to have it in their record collection.
Right.
And
Deep Purple is great. Why not?
You know, yeah, and you'd go back to the store and see it in the $5 bin later, knowing that they only paid 25 cents to put it there after they made their $15 off of it, because you know somebody else turned it in and they're like, yeah, we'll give you 50 cents.
Yeah.
but so that taught me about that stuff, because we didn't have a good comic book shop where I was at. We had a guy who did some comic books, a couple of people who did some comic books, but mostly they were trying to be gaming stores and magic stores. I never quite understood that. Not Magic the card game,
right?
Like Magic, like, oh look, my finger's disappearing, Magic,
right?
You know. So
I don't know when it happened with comic books. Maybe someone in the comments might know, but is it me growing up and being aware of that now, or is it because of the shows that were out teaching people to haggle? I don't know when it happened, or if it's always been there.
Well, some of them pawn shows, they don't really teach them about haggling.
They haggle.
There's a few.
The whole series is based on, like, I'll give you this much. I don't have that much. I'll counter with this. It's always counter.
Yeah. I mean, they do, I guess. But in the end, that, like in that one pawn show, but there's a guy, he knows what he wants out of it.
Kevin Smith did a show called Comic Book Men, and it was all about these clerks running a comic book store, and they'd videotape people bringing in stuff and then trying to buy stuff. They'd haggle and teach people to, okay, this is the what the price is. Let's haggle over it now. And I see that happening a lot more in comic books, especially in conventions.
There's a spot I would expect it to happen.
I do it at conventions. I don't do it too much at stores, but at a convention, I talk to the seller down a lot. I was like, this is for this. Would you, especially if I group things together. So if I buy more than one item, I'm going to say, like, hey, would you cut me a deal on this? And
yeah. You know what? If you walk up and you see a $20 comic book and a $50 comic book, and you know you want both of those, and there's a box of $10 comic books that you want 10 out of, and you're like, hey man, knock $5 off of this. That's a reasonable thing to say,
right? So
absolutely, I can see that being the case, especially at the convention.
At my store, though, I'm sitting there. Some guy brings up a $75 comic book and says, would you take 20 for it? And I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's insulting, actually. You don't want to do that.
You know, so when I used to do the flea market down there in Andover, I used to sell these leather belts. And I would have this happen all the time. Nobody ever argued with me for my food. When I was bringing food down there, they all, $1 a piece for green peppers, blah, blah, blah. They would take that. But I would sell these leather belts, and I still have some of them in my personal that I kept for personal. An Amish guy around the corner used to make them for me, and I'd take them down there and sell them, and to my other vending events too. And I would sell them $35 a piece. People would come up to me, they'd go, oh, I can buy a belt like that in Walmart for $10. And I'd say, no, you can't, because I know what I have.
Right.
People would come up and they'd say, would you take 25? And I would say, no, but I'll take 40. And that was my response back. Because I had 35 on the shelf. They would say, would you take 25? And I'd say, nope, but I could take 40. Because I know for a fact, if you tried to buy that belt online, because I was paying wholesale, right, that you would be paying $75 for that belt. So when I would say I could take 40, I was actually going in the right direction.
Dan from DMG Scales said, a few bucks more to support a local shop is better than giving money to a cardboard cutout retailer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure. Support your local shops because, I mean, they're the ones keeping the hobby alive, I believe.
Yeah. Well, it's not just there. You see it all over the county. I mean, Jefferson's going through that right now. There's a rumor down there that they're going to open up a Dunkin' Donuts.
Really?
And in the old Hardee's building, I guess. And that would be cool. It will support the neighborhood. It will help. Would it help more if some local people got together and were able to resource that building and turn it into like a local coffee store? Absolutely, it would. That would be better because then the tax dollars, the business growth would stay local to our community.
Right.
And so I agree with the people who say that. Having said that, I won't drink at certain coffee stores, but I might go there once in a while. But it's not going to be something I'm going to drive out of my way to. But it will, employ some people and support the neighborhood that way.
Sure.
But a local chain or a local store would definitely do a better job of that.
Absolutely.
So
mom and pop stores, family-owned businesses, some guy just doing a farm market, man. Just doing the hobby farming.
Yeah.
Selling eggs on a corner.
Yeah, and we got tons of those. Met my friend from Youngstown came up here. What was that? 2 years ago. He started building his own Gen 3 night visions, which are cool, and he wants a lot for them, but they're awesome, and they blow the doors off of anything you can find on a Nintendo game or an Xbox game because they used to try and give them away for free with those. Anyway, I brought him up here, and I took him around to a bunch of places up here to pitch to them. And I'm like, here, I'm going to take you over to this outfitter, and I'm going to take you over to this other store. I'm going to take you over here to this prepper store. And they're all just stores run in people's basements. People who know that they're there show up, and lots of people know that they're there. They just show up and they're like, oh, okay, cool. You got batteries and you got flashlights and you got compasses, and that's what people go to you for. And some of them have a little more formal settings, but he was really surprised at how many people just have little hobby stores in the back of their house.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool too.
Dan says, I wish I had my neighborhood record store that I had when I was growing up, run by an older lady who had extensive knowledge of all music genres. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Having someone that knows their stuff in a store where they belong, that's great. You can't ask for
anything better than that.
I mean, it's like I was listening to this radio, and this lady comes on and introduces the band coming up, mispronounces their name. And I'm like, you want me to believe this is... It just took the genuine listening to the radio, of listening to old classic rock.
You're the DJ.
Yeah.
You're the announcer on the radio. You can't do that.
It made me think this person knew nothing about music and just like, okay, here's this other band, listen to this. It's like, no. You gotta like Dee Snider. He likes the music that he's listening to. He's a great radio host. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the movie Airheads.
No, not really.
It has like Brandon Fraser in it, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler. It's got all these classic great people. But the premise is this radio station is really awesome, and they cater to the local bands. They have like this local band talent show and stuff like that. And well, the owner of it wants to go to easy listening and switch sides. But that's not like the plot line. That's like hidden below. But the radio producer's like, I'm not going to switch over. This is not right. And it ended up.
Dr. Johnny Fever. I won't play disco.
You got to watch the movie. I'm probably destroying it.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
What I was talking about had nothing to do with the plotline of the movie. It's just me remembering. Okay, this radio host.
I've seen it. I've seen the ads for it a bunch of times. I just haven't actually watched it, so I don't know what it's about. But you're making it sound interesting now. So I'll take a break. Maybe
if you want to know what it's really about, it's about a band that hijacks a radio store, a radio broadcast, to try to put their single out.
Okay, I can understand wanting to do that.
Yeah, they want people to listen to it, and that's the only shot. And then the band, the radio station's going to easy listening, and this is going to be like their last great thing.
So hey, I think we're going to be wrapping it up here.
Oh yeah.
Before we head out of here, there's a bunch of stuff going on. This coming up weekend is the 25th. That's going to be the Ashtabula County Ham Fest. That's coming up. We're going to be out at Pioneer Picnic, 1809. Look at our preview reel. It's in there. It's on Middle Road in Pierpont. You can't miss it. Check out kc8oh.org for information regarding that.
Or just Google Pioneer Picnic.
We're on their schedule too.
As far as I know, that's the only Pioneer Picnic that'll come up
in Ohio.
Is there other Pioneer Picnics?
There are other Pioneer Picnics.
Okay.
Yeah. If you search, you'll find other ones. But they're as far as I can tell, they're the oldest. 136th annual Pioneer Picnic is coming up here too. That's going to be the end of next month. Last full weekend in August. We're going to probably start running some ads for it in the beginning. I know there's a vendor ad in our beginning reel right now, but the radio club is going to be over there doing a special event station like we did for 4th of July. So
if you're a hobby and hobbyist, you want to get your hobby, sell your hobby, or do hobby stuff, this will be a great place to vend.
Great place to vend. Lots of folks there. The event has been growing and growing and growing every year.
You got like food trucks?
There's tons of food trucks.
Oh, good.
There's tons. For the Ham Fest, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we have Squeezed, a local food truck that just started not long ago.
I know the guy.
Very friendly folks, and so hopefully we'll have a big enough turnout to make it worth their while being up there.
I couldn't recommend this the sandwiches and lemonade enough. The Squeezed has extensive background in food, so try his sub. I think he's got like a turkey.
You know, they go all over the place. They like just drive to Cleveland for no reason and set up shop in front of like the museum, and then
why not?
And then they go to like the beach and set up at the beach, and then they go to the.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but the Ham Fest, July 25th, Pioneer Picnic, August 28th and 29th. Correct?
Yes, last weekend of August.
Yes. Both at the same venue.
Yes.
Kind of confusing, but two different events.
Two different
dates.
Two different dates. Yep. And we will be at both as the radio club,
right?
Andrew and I, and shoot. There was something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But we always sneak stuff into the preview reel. There is a Amish benefit dinner coming up on Friday. That's tomorrow. That's going to be out on Handham's Corners Road. There's a flyer for that in the preview reel too. Go help them folks out. That's what they use to help out. Since they don't do health insurance, that's what they do.
Right.
So that goes to a good cause. And I think the Amish, there's a benefit hospital auction that happens every year. Awesome event that takes place August 1st, first weekend there. I think that's also in the preview of the show. Anyway,
we're losing him, Rykus. He's falling asleep.
It's all the smoke in the air.
Oh, you're telling me, man.
It's in the house. It's everywhere. I think then we can go home and my air purifier should be.
The Hostile Amish was a cool punk band, and I've seen them many times. Absolutely.
The Hostile Amish?
Yeah, they're funny.
Wasn't that local?
Yeah, they're a local group out of Cleveland area. They have a list of great songs like Excommunicated, Lizard in My Butthole.
Oh,
There's a lot of good songs in there. And they would go on stage with electric guitars and butter churns and washboards and play punk music. They were great.
sounds like they kind of took a little bit of a medieval fair type style.
Yeah, they weren't quite Guar, but I mean, they were,
Yeah.
as a local group, they were awesome. They were awesome. I think they still have like a Facebook page, and you know, they're all like us getting into the walker stage. So,
Oof.
Don't look at me.
all right. Well, hey, head over to Ashtabula Hobby Talk and check us out on our website, ashtabulahobbytalk.com. Sign up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please share the YouTube channel. We are pushing for 500 subscribers, and when we do,
Feasible
we'll have
goal. I
something
think
cool.
it's in our
We will,
grasp.
once we hit, I think once we hit 150, we'll make some cool announcements regarding that feasible goal.
Sure. Looking forward to that.
So big announcement at 150. Other than that, I think that's all I got, man.
Visit your local comic book store
And
or hobby place.
Yeah, we're a hobby place, outfitter, all that.
Keep your hobby alive. Don't let it die.
Hobby on.
Hobby on.
You got me off guard. Hobby on. Yeah, that button. Let's do that button.
Hobby on.